The story begins with a 16-year-old boy named Davis. He is with his girlfriend, getting high on drugs without a care in the world. Somewhere else, a 15-year-old named Angel is busy pulling off a scam. He pretends to get hit by a car, and when the driver steps out to check on him, his friend jumps into the vehicle and steals it. But Angel doesn't stop there. He quickly attacks the driver, then runs. Meanwhile, a 17-year-old named Butch is already in a juvenile detention facility. Accused of something he claims he didn't do and pushed around by a guard, Butch finally snaps and attacks him. Not long after these separate incidents, all three boys end up in the same place, a juvenile correctional facility in Enola Vale, Montana. Davis is locked up for drug dealing, Angel for assault and car theft. Butch arrives after the violent attack on the guard at his previous facility. Once they get there, they go through a full body search to make sure they are not hiding anything illegal, drugs, weapons, or anything sharp. After that, they receive their uniforms and meet the head warden, Sands, along with a rehabilitation officer named Goodyear. The rules are simple but strict. No weapons, no sharp objects, no cigarettes, and absolutely no forming gangs. After orientation, they are taken to their shared room and shown their bunks. Goodyear tells them that if they follow the rules and show good behavior, they might earn early release. For now, they are level 1 inmates. That means dark blue uniforms and a probationary period where the staff evaluates whether they are willing to change. If they show improvement, they can move up to level 2 and switch to black uniforms. Level 2 inmates also get training that can help them after release. A job skill, a trade, or maybe preparation to continue school. But if they get into serious trouble or attempt an escape, they are moved to a special punishment unit, given orange uniforms, and pushed until they break or learn a lesson. Goodyear explains all of this calmly, but firmly. On their first day in the cafeteria, Butch quickly becomes a target. Another inmate named Banks works in the kitchen, and he knows exactly who Butch is and why he was transferred. He tries to provoke him, hoping Butch will react and get thrown into the punishment unit. Another inmate, Max, quietly warns Butch to keep his temper under control. After a long first day, the boys go to sleep among dozens of other inmates. The nightmare starts here. This is Dog Pound. The next morning begins harshly. Goodyear wakes everyone before sunrise and demands they make their beds in under 2 minutes. Discipline is mandatory at Enola Vale. Later, while mopping the floor, Angel is called away by a guard. Meanwhile, Davis becomes the target of Banks and his friends. They mock him, shove him around, and even steal his shoes. But Davis holds himself back, trying not to retaliate. From the upper level, Banks and his group spit on Butch while he works. But once again, Butch controls his anger because Goodyear is right there watching. The next day, while Banks is working in the kitchen, he quietly slips a bag of drugs to another inmate. Later that night, things take a darker turn. Banks and his crew sneak into the sleeping quarters and viciously beat Butch while he is asleep.
Shut up, man. Shut up, I swear to God.
Before they leave, they warn him not to report what happened. The following morning, Angel gets yelled at for not making his bed properly. Meanwhile, Goodyear notices the bruises on Butch's face and asks what happened. Butch claims he slipped and fell somewhere in the dark. Goodyear can tell he is lying and warns him to be honest next time. Later, the inmates are assigned outdoor labor, digging soil as part of their schedule. When the job ends, Butch is called to speak with Sands, the head officer. Sands gives him one more chance to tell the truth, saying that refusal will be seen as disruptive behavior. Butch repeats the same excuse and is immediately transferred to the special punishment unit, where inmates are isolated and disciplined more aggressively. Meanwhile, in the dorm, Banks approaches Davis again and offers him more drugs. Davis is already addicted, so he accepts without hesitation. While Davis is high, Banks starts scribbling across his face as a joke. His friends then go through Davis's belongings and find a photo of him with his mother. They mention that she visited recently, but left after waiting too long. What is worse is that Banks and his group are already level 2 inmates wearing black uniforms, which means the staff believes they are well behaved. In reality, they run the place through fear and intimidation. No one reports them because everyone is afraid of the consequences. Eventually, Davis crawls out of the room still disoriented. Goodyear spots him and immediately recognizes he is under the influence. He drags Davis to the bathroom and forces the drugs out of his system. Once Davis regains consciousness, he is sent straight to the punishment unit as well. The next day, a man visits the facility carrying a brown paper bag filled with bread. During casual conversation with the inmates, the bag is quietly picked up by someone named Eckersley, a cleaner who regularly handles smuggled drugs. In the laundry room, the bag is open. Hidden inside the bread is another packet of narcotics, which Eckersley delivers directly to Banks. Days pass. Eventually, Butch and Davis are released from isolation and allowed back into the main block. One afternoon, while Davis and Angel are relaxing and watching TV, Banks's crew starts picking on Davis again. They even throw a ping pong paddle at him. Davis finally snaps, and Angel quickly covers the nearby security camera with a shirt. Butch sees the situation unfold and steps in. He jumps into the room and attacks one of Banks's guys, beating him until the others panic. Under pressure, they reveal where Banks is hiding. Fueled by anger, Butch and Davis storm into the bathroom and attack him. Butch ends up badly injured in the fight and later requires medical attention. Goodyear immediately assumes he was responsible for the assault. Around the same time, Davis's mother writes a complaint letter to the facility after learning her son has been bullied. When Davis finds out, he becomes furious, feeling humiliated and believing he should handle his own problems behind bars. Meanwhile, Angel gets a visit from his father. His family misses him and hopes he will come home one day as a better version of himself. During lunch at the cafeteria, Eckersley is seen once again slipping drugs to another inmate. This time, Butch catches him in the act. Later, during a mentoring session meant to help inmates understand their anger, the group starts teasing each other until everything turns chaotic. Guards step in to calm things down. In the middle of all this tension, Butch corners Eckersley and forces him to hand over every bit of contraband he is carrying. That night, before lights out, Davis casually shares a wild story from his past involving his girlfriend and her mother. It is chaotic, embarrassing, and somehow hilarious to everyone listening. By now, Davis has clearly grown closer to the other inmates and feels comfortable enough to joke around with them. The next morning brings something different. The inmates head to the yard to play dodgeball. Two teams face off and throw rubber balls as hard as they can. It is loud, competitive, and the perfect outlet for all the frustration building inside them. The match narrows down to a final showdown between Davis and Butch. Eventually, Butch gets hit and Davis's team wins. Later, while relaxing in the laundry area, Butch gets called into the office of the facility director, Greaves. He wants to talk about Butch's future. For the first time, Butch openly shares a dream. He wants to attend circus school and follow in his father's footsteps. Greaves reveals something surprising. After reviewing Butch's history, they discovered that the guard he attacked in his previous facility was known for abusing inmates. Because of that, Butch will be granted early release in 2 weeks. But there is a condition. If he causes trouble again, his sentence will extend for 2 more years at no avail. Once he turns 19, he will be moved to an adult prison to serve the remaining 4 years. The next day at lunch, everything erupts again. Eckersley gets slashed in the face by another inmate for not delivering drugs fast enough. Nobody admits to it. Nobody speaks up. The silence says everything. The following day, Butch finds the attacker and beats him down as a warning, promising worse consequences if Eckersley is ever harmed again. At this point, it becomes clear. Butch is not violent without reason. He only targets those who prey on others, the same way he once stood up to an abusive guard. Meanwhile, tensions inside the staff room are rising. The prison is short-staffed, so Sands refuses Goodyear's request for time off to attend his daughter's birthday. Goodyear argues with his wife over the phone, frustrated and overwhelmed. Nearby, Davis, Butch, Angel, and Max overhear the emotional conversation and start talking about one of the female staff members. Angel even paints a crude version of her on the wall. Goodyear returns and sees the drawing. Still angry from the personal argument, he focuses his frustration on Angel.
Closer look at your work.
When Angel mouths off and eventually bites him, Goodyear snaps. He throws Angel, and Angel's head hits a metal surface hard enough to knock him unconscious. Moments later, Sands and the guards rush in, but instead of punishing Goodyear, they handcuff Butch, who is shouting at him in anger. Hours later, Goodyear receives a call from the hospital. The news hits him hard. Angel has died. Meanwhile, Davis is in the laundry room when 2 of Banks's followers corner him. Looking for revenge, they assault him in the most degrading way possible. Despite everything, Goodyear faces no consequences for Angel's death. The system protects him. Davis, on the other hand, is left shattered. Shame, anger, and hopelessness consume him. In the early hours of the morning, he tries to call his mother, desperate for comfort, but the guard turns him away and orders him back to bed. Alone and overwhelmed, Davis reaches his breaking point. That night, he takes his own life. The next morning, word spreads through the facility like wildfire. The inmates refuse to eat. No one has been told what really happened to Angel, but now with Davis gone too, they assume the worst. To them, the staff is responsible for both deaths, and their silence feels like proof. Tension finally explodes. The riot begins with Butch slamming a chair into the wall, and chaos erupts across the cafeteria. Inmates fight, scream, throw objects, and let out every ounce of anger they have been holding in. Guards rush in wearing protective gear. Shields, helmets, batons, and tear gas fill the room as they struggle to regain control. Butch uses the chaos to his advantage and breaks down a door, motioning for Max to follow. But he pauses, turns back, and returns to the cafeteria. Then in one final act of desperation, Butch forces his way toward the exit of the building. He is so close to freedom, but the guards catch him. They beat him relentlessly until his leg snaps and drag him back inside. With that, everything Butch worked toward is gone. His early release is revoked. His dream of joining circus school disappears. Instead, he will remain in Enola Vale until he turns 19. After that, he will be transferred to an adult prison to serve 4 more years. So the moral of the story is if your life choices include drugs, crime, biting people, or starting prison dodgeball beef, things are probably not going great, and maybe you should just take a nap and rethink everything.